big shoes and little shoe wearers. Okay, so what does that mean? This is the topic of the day because it really helps to help understand what your natural leaning is. So for example, it's developed from the NLP concept of big chunking and little chunking. There's big chunkers and there's little chunkers. And I made reference to this in the video yesterday about, little steps. And some people have more of a propensity for being comfortable in the detail than they are for the bigger picture. So quite often you will find the big picture kind of people, the big chunkers, the big shoe wearers of the world, quite often in management and visionary roles. They're the types of people who come up with these great ideas. It's a big thing. It might be, what do they call it? Disruptors, something really big and out there and visionary. But it's kind of big, airy, fairy. I often think of it, actually, I've got an image of like a big cloud, it's like a big cloud and like this is a great concept, or a bubble with all the pictures. And it's like, oh yeah, all these amazing things, but they can't really work out how it would play out. Okay, so the details are not a natural leaning for them. The big shoe wearers of the world tend to have this big concept. They're quite often the ideas people, and they'll go, here you go, and then they move on to the next thing, and they shift it away from them, and then they're on to the next thing, or they'll add on to it and make it even bigger and add on to it. That's another thing that they might do, but they're quite often big ideas that they've got. So they're quite often the visionaries. They're quite often the in upper management. They can be in middle management, but normally I find they would be actually thinking about it where the bigger projects, it's more than one thing. They're quite comfortable with that. They are flexible in trying out and expanding into other sort of areas quite comfortably. Now, as you move down into the middle management, you get the medium-sized kind of chunking people. That will they're great in the middle management. They're more the project kind of guys, project management kind of guys, and supervisors and whatnot, where the teams are smaller, where it's not too overwhelming. Like they do get uncomfortable getting stretched beyond, having their stretch shoes on. Like if they get given too much, then they start getting a bit wobbly. So I don't know which, that might sound like you might be one of those. I don't know. But this is just an idea, the clarity of what's what. And then we go down into the small chunking, or the smaller shoe, little shoe wearing. So it's not like literally tiny little, baby shoes, but they are the details people, and absolutely critical to have in the book because they think in really detailed ways. They can connect the dots. They're so good in jobs like law and accounting and things like that, because they're the guys that what do they say, cross the T's and dot the I's, and it's all commas and full stops, the proofreaders of the world. And it's that nitty gritty, the researchers where they're finding the detail. It's the I think of private investigators or there's CSI kind of programs where they see the detail that others do not, like they find the things, and and they're kind of like squirrels, where they find little gold nuggets and they go, and they gather it and they collect, and they're awesome. You kind of need to have, well, not kind of, you do. It's like the yin and the yang shoes, and the acid alkaline, and the big and the small, and everything balances, the positive and the negative, and we all need each other in order to operate. This is what makes us functional as a whole. You can't just have big thinkers and big shoe wearers or just the little shoe wearers. You have to have both for that whole macrocosm or microcosm, or if you're thinking in a smaller term, for that whole thing to actually work. So as holistic beings, we want to have the whole picture. So you know, if we know that our leaning is that I've got big shoes that I've got in my closet, and I'm a big shoe wearer, then that's, I know that in my business. So like I'm a big shoe wearer, and I knew that in my business that I needed to have people in place that could implement and do all of that nitty-gritty structure stuff, because that just does my head in. I mean, I can do it, and this is one of the interesting things about the big shoe wearers, is that they can go down into detail, and it is possible. It's not comfortable, but they can do it, but only for short periods of time. Like, they burn out pretty quick. The bigger the shoe wearer is, the more uncomfortable they are in the detail. So there's a hint right there. Like, it's like when you go into a boss and you say, can you just sign, just read this, 30-page detailed document with lots of, bullet points and sub clauses and yada, 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 and all the terms and conditions. You will literally see their eyes glaze over. They're like, oh my gosh, that is just so painful to me. Do I actually have to do that? But this is the tendency, is they can miss things that are actually important. Okay. You need to have that someone on board who will do that for you if that is not your thing, and say, right, I just want to draw attention to this bit, this bit, this bit, and this bit. Just check those things. Okay. It's presented in a way that the big shoe wearer can actually understand it, accept it, not push it back, and will actually sign and do whatever it is that they actually need to do. All right. Now, you can get frustrated if you're a big thinker or a big shoe wearer with the detail, because the detail, smaller shoe wearer types want the detail. They want all of those points. They want all of that information. Whereas the others are like, whatever, that as long as you're kind of going in the general direction, I'm sweet. Don't hit me with all of the detail stuff. But we have to have them. So I knew that I had to have that in my business in order for it to function, because quite often I wasn't there, and I needed to have the structure and I needed to have the detail. And I had a fantastic projects manager. She was awesome, and she was really good at all of that. So she would say, right, oh, I noticed they missed this, 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 and this, in the project management side of things. Fantastic, really good at it, and so we need the details, guys, for those nitty gritty, step by step, those little steps. And as I was saying, about the little step shoes, you really sometimes, if people are in so much overwhelm, they have to take little incy steps. This is in the recovery process now that I'm talking about, or healing process now that I'm talking about. And if they are small shoe wearers, and you can identify that real easy, real quickly, then you know that it's actually going to be easy to motivate them to take those little steps. Whereas if they're the bigger guys, they might try to, overcompensate and overshoot the mark. So you know that you need to help them to take the little incy wincy steps in order to recover, right? Okay. So it's just being aware of, what are those shoes? What are my shoes? What are your shoes? And now what my challenge for you today, your little step that you can take to get you on your path in your shoes going your own way, is to identify, are you a big shoe wearer, or have you got more of a leaning of the smaller shoe wearer? Which one are you? And do hashtag big shoes, hashtag small shoes in the comments, and let's start seeing what kind of cohesion we've got within the group, of the Facebook group, if you're in that, or even on YouTube. It doesn't matter, you can do the hashtag comments in either, and let's start getting clarity. It's like, do you know what, that's really interesting, I didn't know that I had a leaning towards that. Then what I would like you to do, challenge number 2, little step, who in your family or who at work wears big shoes or little shoes, and see which ones you have. And what you will sometimes find is that you'll have friends that are a particular you feel more comfortable with. Might be, if you're a big shoe wearer, will be big shoe wearers, and some will be the little ones. And if they're irritating you, that might be why, and if the smaller shoe wearers are getting agitated, it might be that it's because the big person is not paying respect to the detail like you want them to. So how's that? Aren't we just interesting? Don't you just love all this stuff? I really hope you do. I really hope this is making a big difference in your life. Please share, like, subscribe, and onboard other ladies into this. It's all free, and this is all stuff that will get you into your shoes on your path, going your own way. So I hope you found that useful. Namaste.